All right, Maxie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty excited for this one today.
Me too. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Yeah, and me too. You're still in Florida, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
What part? You still in around Titusville area? Or?
Yeah, I'm still in Titusville. Yep.
Okay, cool. And I'm trying to. No, I've got not a great memory, but did we actually go to high school together?
Yeah, astronaut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Many years ago.
I know. I keep thinking. I'm like, man, it's I think I graduated in 2008, so it's like.
Yeah, it was 2008. Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Long time.
We're getting older.
I know. Like I talked about my 30s, but like when I was 18, and I'm like, man, I came really quick, but.
It did, and when I was that age, I would be like, oh my God, 30, like that's so old. But now I'm like, okay, wait, that's not that old.
It's like, not that,
Yeah. It's the new 20.
Exactly. I had actually just posted something the other day that said, 30s are like your 20s, but some more money and you look better. So it's like
exactly. Yes, 100% agree with that.
All right. So guys, we have Maxie here on this episode of Elevated Minds. I'm just gonna ask her to go ahead and just just introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself, and yeah.
Okay. I'm Maxie. I'm 32 years old. Like I said, I'm located in Florida currently. I do a little bit of everything. I like to do art. I'm really into acting. That's kind of what I'm pursuing for a career. So that's why I'm jealous that you're out in California and I'm not. I have 2 published poetry books actually on Amazon, so I do a little bit of writing as well. But
cool.
Yeah, I kind of like to dabble into like the artistic side of things. That's really where I'm most passionate. So
yeah, that's awesome. And I'll remind everyone, I'll have all of Maxie's stuff down below. So I'll get that link from you probably after this, and then
great.
Books in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I did notice I've seen a lot of your art and stuff, and your drawing, and I noticed you started to get into the acting and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So everyone, this episode is really going to be turning dark times into a positive journey. A journey of light. All of us go through different things in life. Sometimes it can be really extreme, really difficult things to get through. But once you get onto the other side, and once you can kind of process things and, really try to do, your best to get your best foot forward when these things happen, you do get into a light at the end of the tunnel, and things, your perspective starts to change and things like that. So, I wanted to definitely talk about that. I want to say you told me you had some experiences as when you were younger and growing up with a very strict church background and things like that. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that, and I'll share some of my stuff as well.
Sure. So I guess really it wasn't when I was growing up like high school or anything like that. I grew up in a non-religious family. We didn't go to church. That was never really something that we were into. Yeah. It wasn't until I was 18, right out of high school, that I kind of got involved with some people who kind of got me into church, I guess you could say. So really from 18 to 26, I was really, really involved in the church scene, in Christianity, at a non-denominational church. But I kind of started just attending, and then I really worked my way up to one point where I was actually running the young adults ministry, and I was really involved in there. But there were a lot of things that happened within a church that should not have been happening.
Wow.
And really kind of set me off into a really dark path where I was like, I'm done with this completely.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with it, you know? So that's kind of a little bit of the background. But what about you?
So I grew up in a very Christian household, and my dad is a pastor, and so my mom worked a lot alongside him. So I was in church pretty much 6-7 days a week most times, and you see a lot in the church for sure. I've seen a lot of things, that weren't so great. I've seen things that were good, but I've seen a lot of things that weren't so great. I've seen people, some of the nastiest people at times.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, but I'll say when it comes to like mentally and stuff like that, it was kind of mentally taxing, I was in church a lot, and I feel like it does. I mean, not that it, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with church or anything like that, because I don't really go to church anymore. I wouldn't consider myself religious, but I do say that I'm spiritual, and so there's just a lot of things that you see in the church and stuff like that, and it's just interesting that it does have an effect on you. Do you have any specific experiences that kind of led you to, go down the, kind of a darker mental path, or anything that comes to mind?
There's a lot that happened. I basically, like I said, once I was like kind of really involved, doing ministry and preaching and all of that. So there was actually a woman there who was head over the woman's ministry, and she was kind of like right below the pastor, I guess you could say. Okay. So you kind of answered to her. She was very possessive and controlling over me, like anything I did, whether it be dating, down to the way that I dressed, way that I talked, looked, everything. Like I was constantly held under like a magnifying glass, and I was being pulled out of my job, like that wasn't even related to the church, to come have meetings with this woman for her to tell me you can't wear skinny jeans, you can't wear this kind of jewelry. Yeah, like it was. That's wild. And it was, and at the time, it's like now you kind of think outside looking in. Why wasn't I just like, first of all, you're not going to tell me what to do, I felt, I guess, very connected in a way that I didn't want to be disrespectful. I really wanted to help people and love people and do ministry. It was like very, very passionate for me to kind of be in that leadership quality. So I felt like I just allowed those things to kind of slowly slip through the cracks till it got so out of control that, like, I mean, she was like cussing me out, locking me in the bathroom at the church, like very weird things, possessive things going on there. I was, like you said, mentally taxed. Like I was there 7 days a week. If my whole life revolved around serving that church. So I had nobody to talk to because everyone looked at this woman like she was so wonderful. Like she was just like this. She would never do, but she really mentally messed me up to the point where I couldn't really gauge what was right and what was wrong anymore. Almost felt like I was brainwashed in a way. And just whatever she said went. Like I had like a curfew. What? A curfew. No way. As an adult woman. Yeah. I mean, and it sounds stupid, but she was terrifying, I was scared of her. So I did everything she said to do, but that's just like a touch of the surface of the kind of things that I would, go through. And just that a church could allow someone to be and the power to abuse their power, rather, because that's really all it was an abuse of power and control, to gain whatever twisted type of thing she was needing to gain in her own flesh and carnal. So, yeah.
Wow. That's, I can't even imagine, like, and especially if it was going on for a while. How long would you say, it was kind of like that?
So I came into that church 2008. I think I really started being like under her authority probably around the end of 2009.
Okay.
So I'd say almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a long time, if not right under 10 years. It was a lot. So it was a long time, just daily.
Yeah.
Constantly telling me I wasn't good enough, like I would actually do slam poetry, or I would preach at the church, and people would come up to me afterwards and be like, that was so great, that really spoke to me, like, thank you so much, just very encouraging things. And she'd pull me to the side and she'd say, you're not that good, so don't let it go to your head, just really mentally put me down as a person.
Wow. So, I can only imagine that. I mean, that's got to do something to you, your self-esteem, your self-worth, all that kind of stuff, especially if you're dealing with that for a long time. So would you say, I'll ask this first. When did you start to kind of realize, like, something's not right here? Like,
it was probably, I got a tattoo, okay? I got this tattoo, and I got this tattoo. Yeah. And I was in trouble, okay? Because how dare I put ink on my body? It's my body, but really it's not, apparently. And I remember we were in church service, and I was sitting with my friend at the time, and she's texting me, you need to meet me. It was like the cry room, like where you would go, like your baby was crying during service. Okay. She's like, you need to meet me in the cry room because we need to discuss what you've got going on. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like, here we go again. Like I showed my friend her text messages, because I was like, I would protect her and I wouldn't tell people like what was really going on. I think because I didn't think people would really believe me. Right. So I showed my friend, and my friend is the one I got this tattoo with. Like, it was a matching best friend tattoo. Okay. Yeah. So apparently we were gay lesbians because we got that tattoo. So stupid. That like makes sense, right? Yeah. And so she makes a post on Instagram that was like geared towards this woman who was like, lashing out at me. Yeah. So then she saw it and she flipped out. So we were in the cry room. She has me like in a corner, like angry. She's yelling at me. Yeah. And I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, this is not normal. Like this woman is like controlling my entire, like, I'm scared for my safety at this point. And so I just remember I kind of shoved her out of the way, and I just ran out of the church. Yeah. And she texted me and was like, you're not welcome here until you apologize to me. Wow. And I was like, well, my ticket out. I literally never went back after that. There's so many people there that, I had such wonderful relationships with that I still do. There's a group of women that I actually am still very close with. That's awesome. And I'm very thankful for. They still, encourage me and love me. But there are a lot of people that don't even speak to me because of that. Almost a shunned type of thing.
No, that's a real thing a lot of times, I've definitely seen that. It's just kind of crazy, how you can, because I went to churches before, and they were nice, but it was like that fake nice, And
so, I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean? So like there's a church I went to with one of my friends, and then he ended up moving away, and they were like, this is out here when I moved out here. This is like when I first moved here, and they were just kind of like, come through anytime. We're gonna get you set up on our texting, and we'll let you know when we're doing things like going out and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, cool. When he moved away, like they cut contact with me. It was just like, I was like, dang.
You're like, okay, cool. Yeah. Glad we're friends.
Yeah, but you know, some churches like that they can be kind of like cultic, just like they got their cliques, and once you're removed or you don't agree with this person or this person, it's kind of crazy. And I can only imagine what that could do to your mental health, especially if you were plugged in for a while, and then I mean, it's cool that you do still have ones that you're connected with and talk to and stuff like that. But when you got out, after that happened, what would you say? What did you feel? As far as mentally. I mean, it's probably like kind of confusing but freeing. But
yeah, it was a really dark time for me for a long time. I definitely, so it's like almost like when you're in a relationship for so long, like you don't know anything. Yeah. Like I really didn't know anything outside of this environment that I had been in for so long. And I almost felt a sense of like, well, what now? Like, what is there for me to do now? Like, I don't even know what I would do. So I was really depressed for a while. I tried another church here locally. It's not that I didn't like it. It just wasn't the same for me. Okay. I didn't feel connected. It felt very different. And the people that I still remain close with also had encounters with this same woman.
Oh, wow.
And left. So, they all kind of did their own thing. It all kind of shaped us in a way that, changed our kind of outlook on things within the church environment and etc. But once I stopped going to church altogether, I kind of just got very angry. And then I was like, just very angry towards God in general, like thinking to myself, if God is real, how in the world can he allow these people to just like represent him and it be so evil? Like I would meet someone on the street that's not a Christian, that's way more kinder and genuine than you would find in the church itself. It's like, and I don't want to peg every church and I don't want to peg every Christian, because I know Christian people who are wonderful and very loving and do the right thing. And I'm sure there are churches out there that are not cultish, but the environment that the church has got to, I mean, it really destroys people's lives. I mean, thank God I'm in a better place mentally now, but for the last 5 years being out of that, it was like a roller coaster for me. Just not really knowing what was next and how to kind of like navigate all of that.
I can definitely feel you on that, because I feel like when I moved here, I didn't really find another church home, and I've been at the church I went to was my dad's church, and it was a good church. But the things that I've seen with some of the people, and then outside churches and stuff like that, I got to a point where I've been in church 6 days a week type of thing. I'm kind of like, maybe I'm just gonna take a little break or just But some of the most interesting things that I've noticed when I just not been in church, just meeting people and just being out and just experiencing things, I've met some of the most nicest people, loving people, that aren't churchgoers. I've met some that really great ones that are churchgoers. But it was really eye-opening. I learned that the four walls doesn't really mean anything, doesn't make a person good or bad. It's really what's inside the four walls of your inside. I
agree 100% with that.
It's you really, when you meet certain people, it's just like, I feel like you learn certain things, because I feel like you probably learned something from that woman at the church. People can seem like they're one way, on the outside or to everyone else, to the public, but behind closed doors, it's like a whole
it's like a demon just kind of comes out the mask, stares off. I mean, you really see people for who they are when they're put under pressure, and when they're put in uncomfortable situations. That's how you find out who a person truly is,
right?
And it can be scary.
Yeah,
because like you said, you see them and you're like, oh, this person's in power. They seem so wonderful, and everyone loves them. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the scary part.
Yeah. What would you say is one of your life's biggest lessons?
I think for me, my biggest lesson has been I put so much trust in someone and in people in general that I kind of lose myself, rather than being more independent and kind of more spiritually balanced.
Right.
So for me, I feel like it would be just putting all or nothing into someone, that when that doesn't work out, it's kind of like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense. I've been in situations like that, giving everything, put your everything into the person. And when it's all said and done, it's just like, man, like, it's almost like you a piece of your identity is in there.
Yes.
And so
like they make you who you are almost.
Right. And so I feel like that's another thing I went through when I moved here is I got out of the church, and then I'm like, whoa, now what? Because I was a drummer. I was on the praise team, the choir, and I'm the pastor's son, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that was my identity for the longest time, and then out of nowhere it's like, oh, now what? I don't really identify with that per se. So I feel like I won't say it was an identity crisis, but I kind of felt like after that I had to kind of find myself. And because I can only imagine when you said like she kind of controlled you for a while, so it's like you didn't really get to think for yourself, or you didn't really just get to express yourself in the way you wanted to for 10 years. That's a long time. So imagine identifying with that for so long, and then you break free from it, and it's like, oh, now I can think for myself. I can wear what I want.
What do I want?
So I can only imagine, like, mentally, I feel like that had to be kind of like maybe a little overwhelming sometimes,
I think that's why I chose to do nothing. I kind of I was going, and I felt like at that time in my life I was really doing something good. And I was changing lives and for the better, and I felt a purpose. I guess that's what I would call it. I felt like, okay, there's a reason I'm here, and this is it, and I'm fulfilling that. And after that, I was like, like I said, I felt like, what is my purpose now? And then it was like, well, I'm too terrified to really even step into anything because of the experience I just had. So I'm just going to do nothing. And just wasted so much time that I could have been doing other things. I could probably be somewhere more advanced than I am now, but I try not to look at it that way because I feel like we all have our own journey. It's our own pace. Certain things happen in life that just happen and we can't control them, but they make us better and stronger. And I feel now that the place that I'm in, I needed to take that break, to kind of rest and really gear to what I want to do, so I can be fully confident in that, and then nobody can come in and be like, you're going to do this way, and I can be like, no,
sway to wherever they.
Exactly.
I think that's really cool because I read something. I I can't remember if it was from a book or if it was just a quote, but it said stillness doesn't mean it's being stagnant.
Yes.
And so I feel like learning how to be still when you need to be still can actually have a huge benefit for you, because for one, you're able to think, you're able to process. And, like you said, you were trying to gear towards what you really wanted to do. And you can't it doesn't just come, you don't just figure that out. It's not like an arm switch, like,
I wish, but no.
The light bulb and everything.
Yeah. Right.
So I feel like, being able to be still, I think that's a good thing, because, and look, you say, now your sense of purpose is coming back. And, for a while, it took me a long time to figure out what my purpose, and now I realize, I want to help people in my own way. And so, inspiration, that's why I started doing like the podcast, and I'm writing a book, and I'm trying to, I want to be able to inspire people and realize, explain to people, you can go through a lot of things. I've been through a lot of things, but it doesn't, but you can get through it, and you can come out on top. And, these things that do happen, they can make you stronger. You don't have to give up. It's going to be rough, but you can still, make it. You got this,
Yeah. I love your podcast, by the way. I think it's great. I'm so excited for you. And it's really encouraging. I see little clips and stuff on TikTok, and they're very encouraging. And I like that, because people need that, especially with the world and how it is right now.
Right. Encouragement
is key to get us through. Like, I totally believe that. So
absolutely, so I feel like if I can brighten up, even if only 10 people view it, that's 10 people.
Exactly. Yeah. That's true. And everyone starts somewhere.
Exactly.
So nobody just snaps their fingers and has 1 million followers.
You know what I'm saying? So, and same with you. I see your following is going up and everything like that too. And something I've noticed, something I've been learning on my journey is it's a journey. Every single person, you don't see, Oprah and some of these people that are wealthy or got, lots of followers and stuff like that. It didn't just happen like that. A lot of people put in time. They had a lot of pitfalls. They had failures. They had, life happenings.
Yeah.
And, all along the way. And so some people just think that people become overnight successes, or they just get there to where they're trying to go like that. And you don't see the other stuff that they went through. So,
you only see the glory of it all. You don't see, but I feel like there's more of an appreciation when you go through all the rejection and the trials and fails of it all. And then when you finally get there, you're like, I did all this.
I did this.
And I'm here. Like,
absolutely. So
it is a journey, and it's great. Every part of the journey is great, even though it doesn't feel that way.
Absolutely. I know. Facts. So the next thing I wanted to ask is, when we go through these dark moments and stuff like that, because I think you wanted to share a little bit about, your mom and everything. My condolences, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, but something like that, if you want to share a little bit about it, and how did you transform that moment into something positive? Like, how did you do that? Because there's a lot of people that do deal with loss and loved ones and things like that. And so, what would you say that what was your biggest turning point? Like, what did you what helped you to get through that?
So, my mom, she passed away 10 months ago, so a year coming up in October.
Right.
And I didn't have the closest relationship with my mom, which I think made it really hard for me with her passing, because it's now all the what ifs, and I should have did this differently. It wasn't like it was like a hostile relationship as I was older, but it still wasn't where I had hoped it would be.
Right.
And so when she passed away, it was like, I didn't know how to really handle it. Like, I didn't even know what emotion to feel at that time. So it was kind of really up and down for a while. And I kind of got into a really dark place, I would say, mentally. Just like, I would feel like I was losing my mind sometimes. Like the pain. Yeah, it's like the weirdest pain in the world. You can't describe it. You know, you physically can't describe how it feels. But in the last, I would say, 4 months, I started feeling a change in myself. I'm advocating for my mom and what happened to her, and I'm trying to get her justice. So that's really like kind of amplified me in a way that turned something negative that happened and something so tragic into a positive, because I don't want this to happen to anybody else's family. So that's really driven me, and surrounding myself, like I was telling you, with the women that I still have contact with that used to go to that church with me. I've really surrounded myself, and instead of shutting them out, because for a long time I kind of shut everyone out. I just wanted to be left alone. And I kind of opened myself back up to be vulnerable and have women speak into my life, and that positive, encouragement, and they love me, and they're Christians, so they speak good word into me, Absolutely. And it definitely changes the atmosphere, rather than being around people that are kind of like in a negative headspace. And I'm not knocking them, because I've been there many times. But absolutely, I've heard it said so many times, you are who you hang around with. And I want to be in a positive, healthy, ever-growing place in my life. I don't want to be stagnant anymore. And honestly, that has literally changed my life 360 from October of last year until now. It's just having those women and those close people in my life to really gear me and feed into like what I love to do and my talents, and kind of bringing all of that back up. And then in that way, I feel like I can make my mom proud, even though she's still not here. She would rather see me succeeding than not getting out of bed,
Absolutely. That's awesome. I think, I honestly think she'll be proud, because that's huge. One of the things you said was vulnerability. And that is a huge thing. I feel like that's huge when it comes to healing. I think that's huge when it comes to trying to be a stronger person, because a lot of people think being vulnerable is being weak, but but being vulnerable is actually being open. It's hard to open up, so when you get in the habit of anything, it's going to make it easier as you do it more and more. But being vulnerable is not easy. But how you said like you wanted to find a group that is uplifting, and they're bringing out the best out of you. That's you can't beat that. Like I just did an episode the other day about support systems. It's really important, for us to have people that we can talk to, lean on, vice versa. Some people you can just be open with, because life is rough, and if you can't share, if you can't share with anybody,
it's a really lonely place when you can't. And then even like you said, going through things with people and being real about it. Not just saying, "Oh, I'm fine." Like, no, I'm having a terrible day. Like, and this is how I feel. And not feeling judgment for that is so important, to have that space to be able to just express, no matter what it is.
Exactly. No matter what, it's definitely a huge thing. So, I think she'd be proud of that for sure. Definitely, because sometimes people don't come back from that. When someone passes, it's a very it's a sensitive ground. It is for sure. But that's awesome. I had another question for you. What's something you'd say you're capable of today that you weren't capable of a year ago?
Oh, that's a pretty complex one, but I would say I was going through really bad panic attacks, like to the point where like I was not able to like leave my house. Like it just was like so bad. Like I felt trapped like in my own body. And from 2021 till now, I'm starting to slowly step out and be able to get back to like feeling confident in myself and being able to get out and be around people. But like, that is the biggest thing for me right now. I was not able to like leave my home at all costs. And now I'm doing so much better. That's mentally awesome. And physically. So it's, like I said, it's been like a 360 for me with that.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I think one thing about me, I used to have really, really bad anxiety. I'd say probably a little over a year ago, after I got out of this pretty bad relationship, my anxiety was through the roof because of what I was dealing with. And I feel like now I know how to, work on my breathing, to calm the nerves down, how to take a moment to meditate. I've been getting out in nature. That's a huge thing now for me. Yes,
it's I agree.
Getting some fresh air and sun. You'll be surprised what going to the beach can do for you.
Yes, yep. The water is like...
It's like
the water, sunshine. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so I'd say that's something that I can do now is get over my anxiety and things like that. So I think that's something I'm capable of now compared to a year ago.
Yeah. Which is a huge thing.
It is.
I know a lot of people who don't go through it don't understand. But like, as someone who gets it, like, that's a huge accomplishment because that's a really hard thing to overcome.
Right. Absolutely. I have a couple of cool questions before the end. If the average lifespan was 40 years, how would you live differently? And that's coming up pretty close for you and me.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. Well, I would spend what's left traveling the world. Like, I would just go anywhere and everywhere, and I wouldn't worry so much about saving money and trying to gain all these luxurious things, the status. Like, I would just do and experience as much of the world and life that I possibly could.
That's awesome. I think I'd be doing the same thing because I love to travel anyway. So.
Oh yeah. I'd rather have experiences than, okay, well, I have this huge house and these fancy cars. Like, exactly. Okay, well, that's not going with me. So.
I totally agree. 1,000%. Yeah. And then some words of parting wisdom for everyone. What would you say that you would like the viewers to know? Something that you think is inspiring for them. What would you say?
Sure. I would say that it doesn't matter where you are in your life, no matter how dark it is right now, no matter what situation you're facing, grace yourself. Even if it's just getting out of bed that day, celebrate little accomplishments, because those celebrations of little things will become bigger things, and every day will get better, even though it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Just allow yourself to be vulnerable and feel those things, because that's how we heal and we get to a better mindset and we become stronger. And just don't be so hard on yourself, because I think for me, that's what I do, and it's really pushed me back rather than advanced me. So celebrate yourself where you are, and don't knock yourself if you're having a bad day or week or month. It'll get better.
I love that. Yeah, that was great. I think everyone definitely make sure be vulnerable, be open, like you said. Allow yourself to give yourself some grace. We all are just in this trying to figure it out. No one
100%.
No one really knows 100% what's going on. So be easy on yourself, love others. And just really enjoy life and cherish every moment.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
So, this has been a great episode. I appreciate you for being on here on Elevated Moments.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.